Welcome, folks, to your new favorite cricket fan channel called Willow and Leather. This is Shravan. This is a continuation of the series that we're doing here as a preview for the IPL 2024. We're taking one team at a time, deep diving into them, and I'm sharing my starting lineup for each team as well as my predictions for where they might end up at the end of the season. Alright, so we'll move on with that series now, and the team for this particular episode is Kolkata Knight Riders. As a quick recap, last season, unfortunately, they did not qualify for the playoffs. They were a little below par. Last 3 or 4 years, they've kind of been all over the place. I think barring that one season, which was impacted by COVID, and the whole tournament was kind of split into two parts. The first part at home in India, they had a torrid run, but then after that, they just kind of had this tremendous change in fortunes, and they were able to ride that winning momentum all the way to the finals that season, but unfortunately could not get the cup for Kolkata that time around. But barring that one solid run of games, I think overall in the last 3 or 4 years they've been very underwhelming, just given the history of the franchise and the quality of the team that they have as well. Let's look at some of the key changes in the roster for this season. Firstly, they let Shardul Thakur go. I think that was a pretty big omission from their team. This time around, Shreyas Iyer is back from his injury, recovered from the back issues that were bothering him last year. And we've all kind of seen how impressive a World Cup he had in the later part of last year as well. And they will be hoping that he comes in with a lot of confidence, and he can lead the side to better fortunes this time around. But the key addition or the key significant signing of this auction was obviously Mitchell Starc. Comes back to the IPL after a long break, and went for a record fee as a part of the auction, the most expensive purchase ever in the history of IPL. That's saying something, but then again, I mean, the auction dynamics do play a lot into the price that a player goes for, but he'll definitely be a welcome addition to that team. Let's quickly look at what their strengths are. I think their top four picks for overseas slots are all very, very solid match winners, game changers in their own rights. So I feel like that is a massive advantage that they have. I think in terms of the overseas players, out of the four, I think three of them are genuine world-class players. And players that can not just turn matches but turn entire tournaments on their head if they're on fire. So that'll be something that will definitely work in their favor. And the other strength is something that's been a trend for them over the last several years, which is their spin department. So between the likes of Sunil Narayan, Varun Chakravarti, and Suya Sharma, I think they have their spin department very, very well covered. And given some of the more recent tracks that we've seen in Kolkata, offering a lot of turn and kind of holding up and on the slower side, that spin department will have a big impact on this team as well. In terms of weaknesses, a couple of things here. I think one obviously is the lack of quality domestic Indian pacers. And I mean, they do have a couple of options, but not someone who's proven at the international stage, and not a bowler who can lead their attack as such. But I think at least bringing in Mitchell Starc kind of fills that gap of leadership in the pace bowling department, but I think they're still a little light on their domestic pace bowling options. The other key weakness for me is the lack of form for some of these domestic players in the team. Specifically in the batting. Now Shreyas Iyer is coming back in the IPL. He is coming back on the back of some big runs for the country at least, but it's been a while since he's had an impactful IPL performance, so he will be looking to make amends there. But there are a couple of other folks in that batting order who haven't really done a massively stellar job for the team in the last couple of years. So I think they'll be hoping to get some runs out of them as well. But those are the two key weaknesses, at least, that I see, or areas of improvement for them for sure. Right. So let's look at their starting 12. Again, I'm doing a list of 12 just because I want to include the impact sub as a part of this list as well. So number one, Venkatesh Iyer. Last couple of seasons have been very rough for him. Spent a lot of time opening, but then has floated around in the order as well when things haven't worked out. But unfortunately, hasn't found his rhythm in the last couple of years. Earlier, when I talked about the magnificent run that they went on, which took them all the way to the finals a couple of years ago, that season, a lot of that uptrend was courtesy Venkatesh Iyer's brilliant form and the fantastic starts he was giving them in most matches. So he will definitely want to replicate that form and bring it back so that he can have a very consistent season this time around. Alongside with him opening the batting, I have slated in Phil Salt. Now this is a last-minute replacement because Jason Roy was their other opening option. They also have another overseas option as well in the form of Rahmanullah Gurbaz. But I think with Jason Roy not being available for the tournament, it brings in Phil Salt as an option. And between Phil Salt and Rahmanullah Gurbaz, I feel like Phil Salt is probably a more dangerous option. Both are good wicket keepers as well, so Salt definitely covers the wicket keeping aspect, but I think he's a little bit more aggressive and dangerous, and I think Rahmanullah Gurbaz, in the chances that he's got playing for KKR, I don't think he's quite made as much of a splash as he would have wanted to. Phil Salt, we've seen him make some key impacts last year in the IPL while playing for Delhi Capitals, and he's done very well in other parts of the world as well. So I think he definitely deserves a starting position, and he might benefit from a good run of games to start the season off with. At number 3, Captain Courageous Shreyas Iyer, coming back from a back injury, as I mentioned, and he will be looking to set a lot of things straight. When it comes to Indian contract as well, he was kind of omitted from the contract for BCCI, so for this year, central contract. So he definitely has a point to prove. He will want to put his name up, put his hand up for being included in the T20 squad for this year's World Cup as well. So it's absolutely crucial for him to have a fantastic season with the bat and as a leader as well. So Shreyas Iyer, I think when he's in form, he's a very good batsman, very solid batsman, but he will need to take his game 2 notches further up and to really show that he belongs in the Indian team. He would want to stamp his authority on this team as well, just being out last season definitely didn't help with that cause. So he will want to kind of set things right and show what he's capable of in this season. Right, so that's Shreyas Iyer at 3. And at number 4, I have Nitish Rana, a very versatile player, absolutely aggressive, brings in the left-hand option again as well in the middle. Someone who is equally capable of destroying spin bowlers as well as pacers. He can take on the bowlers at any stage of the game, and that's like a very handy talent, I would think. Being able to accelerate in middle sluggish parts of the game is a very important skill to have, and it's highly valued in the world of T20 cricket, and I think he adds that additional dimension of aggression as well. So Nitish Rana at number 4. At number 5, I have Andre Russell, the big man himself. Brings a lot of versatility again and a lot of credibility to the batting. Over the last couple of years, he's improved by leaps and bounds as a bowler as well. I know he's had his bout of injuries to deal with over the last several years, but I think he's come back strong from those injuries in the last couple of years and really made a mark as a bowler, in addition to being that destructive force that we all know that he can be with the bat too. So him being fit and available and bowling some crucial overs, I think that's going to be a massive factor for this team, and a lot will ride on how his season goes too. Right, at number 6, I have Rinku Singh. One of those fairy tale stories that the IPL produces almost very regularly now, but someone who's shown a lot of promise previously, but last year he really came to the front and put in such impactful performances. And this is not just a quick 10 ball 20 or a 15 ball 30. He single-handedly won games for the team from literally unwinnable situations. I'm sure everyone recollects the 5 6s that he hit of the last 5 balls of the match to chase a target down against Gujarat Titans. That was a historic win, and I think that really did his confidence a world of good too. And we've seen how he's flourished from there and grown from strength to strength, and forced his way into the Indian setup too. I think he's a very strong contender to be on that flight to the US and the Caribbean for the World Cup later this year. But he will want to seal his spot with a string of solid finishing performances as a part of this KKR setup again. I think he's one of those players tailor-made to play that finisher role, and he's shown incredible temperament in situations where he's had to come in to bat a little earlier as well. So that really shows his level of maturity as a batter too. So that's Rinku Singh at number 6. And at number 7, I've included Manish Pandey into the fold. Again, a player who had a promising start in the IPL, one of those veterans of the IPL who's been around ever since its inception, but hasn't really found his footing in the last several years, has moved around from club to club, was with KKR previously. More recently, he spent some time at Delhi Capitals, but then he's found his way back to KKR. He was a part of the KKR team that won those 2 titles in their prime as well under Gautam Gambhir. So, he will want to make a mark, and I think compared to some of the other local domestic talent that they have in the batting department, I think he might be a pretty good option to bring in. And again, we've seen him kind of being used at number 3 or number 4 previously in other teams. He's not really proven to be very effective, kind of being a little on the slower side, not an exceptionally high strike rate, and that can impact teams. So I would like to see him in a more of a finisher role here again. And I think he might be a good partner for someone like an Andre Russell or a Rinku Singh to provide that wealth of experience lower down the order. And, he still has that ability to hit those big shots. So I would like to see him kind of used in that role of just being a 10 to 15 ball kind of a player. And it might be exactly what he needs to kind of rejuvenate or restart his career again and kind of establish himself in a new role for a new franchise this time. So that's Manish Pandey at 7. At number 8, the wily veteran, Sunil Narayan. Again, such a versatile player, such amazing talent when it comes to bowling. Even after all these years, he still continues to be a mystery spinner. Can outfox and bamboozle the best of batsmen in any kind of a tournament or on any kind of a surface. And that's really an exceptional talent, right? So when you look at players like Sunil Narayan, you are guaranteed one of 2 things. He'll either get you 2 or 3 wickets in those 4 overs, or he'll kind of keep the economy rate under 5 and over. So that's something that is kind of written when Sunil Narayan is bowling. So it's kind of really great to have that experience available still. When it comes to the batting, I think Sunil Narayan obviously is not the same batsman that he used to be several years ago. I still remember the days when he used to open the innings for KKR, and he has absolutely demolished bowling attacks while opening as well. But I don't think he's at that level for batting anymore. I feel like his best batting days are behind him, but still, as a spinner in the team, as a leader of the spin attack in the team, he has a lot to offer. One of those players that delivers 100% day in, day out. At number 9, I have the new man, Mitchell Starc, coming in. Mitchell Starc has been away from the IPL for 8 years now, so he'll be eager to make a comeback and make a splash as well. Coming in for big sums of money, and no matter what any player might say, I think just having that big price tag on your head, I think does play a role in what kind of a mind frame you enter the tournament with. But hopefully he doesn't feel that pressure, and he can come in and express himself and really turn back the clock to the golden years of his time in IPL when he was very devastating. But I think he's a great addition to the team. Can bowl, can actually create some serious damage with the new ball, but also be equally effective in the death overs. I'm struggling to recollect the last prominent death over specialist that KKR had. So I think having someone like a Mitchell Starc is a big welcome to the team. At number 10, I have one of the domestic pacers, Vaibhav Aroda. He's been associated with the club now for a couple of years, hasn't really found his footing, has done pretty well in those chances that he's got previously. But I think with someone like Shardul Thakur moving out of the franchise, I think that opens up a key spot for another Indian pacer to come in, and I think they will be looking towards someone like a Vaibhav Aroda to establish himself in that position there for the team. At a number 11, I have Chetan Sakaria. He was one of the other pacers that they picked up in the auction this time around. Versatile bowler, is pretty effective in the middle overs, has some good change-ups and variations as well. Excellent left-arm pacer. I think he will be wanting to make a mark too. I think he's floated around a couple of franchises before this, so he will definitely want to prove himself and establish himself as a player in this franchise for the years to come. So he'll be, gunning to go out there and make a mark too. Right, and at number 12, I have Varun Chakravarti. Star bowler, outright mystery spinner. I think a lot of batsmen still struggle to read him. And, on his day, he can basically absolutely just rip through entire batting units. We've seen him do it time and again over the last several years now. It'll be very important for the team that he partners well with Sunil Narine, and when they are bowling in tandem, one of two things typically tends to happen. One is either they just break through the batting lineup with wickets either way, or at worst they tend to have a very tight economical spell between the two of them. So one way or the other, he is a key essential piece for making sure that the team puts pressure on the batting, and the others can come in and pick up some wickets as a result of that added pressure. Cool. So that's my list of the 12 probables to start with. The squad, just to summarize, for me, the squad, I think, has dealt with injuries very frequently over the last several years. When you look at the list, the likes of Andre Russell, Sunil Narine, Varun Chakravarti, Mitchell Starc is prone to injuries as well. Shreyas Iyer is just coming back after a big injury and a recurring back injury. So all these players, I think the franchise will be hoping that these players can stay fit and can play for the entire duration of the tournament. If they do, I think they can actually have a pretty big impact on this competition. In addition to that, if some of these domestic players can come to the party, I think the team will definitely be a force to reckon with. Another big change that I didn't cover earlier is Gautam Gambhir comes in as the coach for the team again after many years. He's back at KKR. We all know the kind of great things he was able to do with the team as a player and as a captain earlier. So the franchise will be hoping for more of the same with him as the coach there. It'll be interesting to see though how well and how quickly he can get along with some of the other coaching staff there, and what kind of a bond he can form with Shreyas Iyer, the captain, and how they can steer the team forward. But my predictions, I think they'll have a good run, but I still suspect that they'll probably fall just short of making it to the playoffs. I think they'll be in contention right till the very end, but they might just end up just outside the top four. But if everything falls in place for them, if they can get on that kind of a winning run that we saw a few years ago, sky's the limit for them. So we'll just have to wait and see how well they do. Right, so that was my summary of Kolkata Knight Riders. Let me know in the comments if you have any differing thoughts, if you would like to see who you would start in the 12 as well. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please do like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to this channel so you can keep receiving more amazing cricket content that I'm trying to put out here. Once again, this is Shravan signing off as a part of this new channel called Willow and Leather. Looking for all your support in making this channel reach far and wide. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.